Hey everyone, it's BigMayonnaze back on the sandwich. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. If you are, don't forget to hit like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. It really helps keep this channel going. It helps me continue these series and lets me know that you guys are enjoying this. And if you guys have any tips or any ideas, just go ahead and leave them in the comments. But that being said, last episode we were about to go out into the frozen tundra here against our mother's wishes. Anton. Oh. I'll whip you if you make even a single step outside that door. Can I try again? I need to distract Mom somehow, or I'll get scolded and my ass whipped with Dad's leather belt. Okay. Let's go to the kitchen. I guess I have to lie to Mom. Why, man? It was difficult to lie to Mom, but there was no other way for me to run away from home. I don't want to run away from... What? Mom, something's wrong with the TV. The picture is dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. You're killing me here. So, have you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? I told you, the kinescope. I told you, the kinescope will go dim because of your console. Where will we find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings. Please, go see for yourself. Strange, it worked fine in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it. Mom rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olya's room. Okay, well now we should be good to get out of here, right? Like a shadow in the night. I don't like that anymore. I don't like saying that now. Not since the shadow attacked me in the night. I opened the front gate and went into the field. Carefully, so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of the day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time had reached its limit, and a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was so much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone, listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple days before we departed. It was so hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing or spent time together, almost like all of it was just a previous life. When they kissed with Olya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day, it just all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out, and our parents were hurried, packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. But from who? From the people with dead, cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home. Eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything. And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze in the thin ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up comfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow. When I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Nights. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? I heard a distant shout. Looked like it came from the river. As if the trees were calling out to someone. Or sounded closer to me. Someone was standing there, behind the trees, hiding. I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about that figure. I don't see it. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground, its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. I'm gonna get some water ready. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away just for a moment, but when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So, it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. My muscles were tightly sprung, my heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. Let's take it. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 there's two of them. Vova! A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I stepped toward the bristly trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. I pulled harder and the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. I squeezed it without thinking, and something dark spilled from it. From a tiny string between the mitten and the snow, steam rose from the snow pile. I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of crackly branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thick. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably a one of reason, but it gave me strength and spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was loud, so loud my ears went numb. It felt like a sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucking in the freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside of a nightmare. The snowy clearing had become vicious like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught into a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was the snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something was in the snow pile, clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone, my boots slipped out from the hole, and my soles were on hard surface again. I reached the clear path with one jump from there and ran into my house. Its glooming facade didn't look so threatening now. That house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden underneath the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as of a dog striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was so much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave way. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. The smell of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone and the breath was too. If someone was there in the first place, of course. Here, 5 meters away from my mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with the last bit of strength, I had left my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same way as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel, her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me. I thought... I stuttered as soon as I started to explain myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked at the front yard. Her expression changed in instants, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Look over there, at the fence! My heart started thumping as if I'd become prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratch at the door, just like in my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window, facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in the snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs! Just a small pack of strays with no name and owner, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me, like a bunny. And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from my mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attacked Olya? Mom? I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look! They're alive! Huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner just to keep myself from crying. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stray dogs. And for what? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course! A dark, sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mother. Mom, look, it's Vulva's mitten. That boy the police were looking for about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show you where. Let's call the police right away, like the officer had told us to. Mom, look. Ew. A shadow of doubt slowly crept onto my mom's contorted face, as if she was trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but the images slip away. Stop at this moment. Olya will go insane if she hears you. She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time, and you joke around like this. At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, who cried Wolf. Oh, don't just stand there. Come take your pills. A golden-colored pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell onto my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, Take it or you won't be able to sleep at night. And you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten after all, just like the forest monsters and Olya's owl. Am I going crazy? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let the fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you're done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything all right? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had different taste. The melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Olya was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to the other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar's and Lago's voices died down. I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. What do we got? Oh, we got a lot of stuff to look at here. Got a little Gundam guy up there. So, is this all real then? Or does he suffer from very terrible anxiety, right? Or maybe even like a schizophrenia type deal. And so now he has to take medication to control that. And if he doesn't take that medication, for example, if he doesn't take it before bed, maybe this is what happens. I'm curious now. And this kind of fits my channel a lot too, the whole mental health aspect of things. This is really interesting. My Triceratops figurine. I know all about sorts of dinosaurs. Velociraptors, Afrovenators, Hypsilophodonts. I remember going to the movies to see Jurassic Park back when we still lived in the city and taking pictures with the T-Rex in the hall. It turned its head and roared. It was awesome. And next to it was a Robotech Transformer. I love this cartoon. When a jet fighter speeds up in the intro, among the sounds of blaster fire, you know your next 20 minutes will be surely amazing. Zentradi Space Station is captured. Rick, get ready for battle. The forest didn't look as grim during the day. Entangled tree branches in the distance and the snowy field beyond our house and the forest brought sleepiness to my eyes, but sometimes I would still catch myself looking into the window at the icy treetops instead of doing my homework. I've dreamt of becoming an artist since Dad bought me my first comic book. Fly magazine was the coolest. I especially liked the big space-related edition with alien monsters and that funny episode about gendarme. I started drawing all sorts of different things since that day, and I seem to be getting pretty good at it. One of my letters even got published in Fly once. Maybe someday they'll even publish my comic. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten in there. This simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. Only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to the medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor. It reminded me of the burial sheets. Olya? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried lips. Yeah, Olya, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached towards the curtains, but beat my heart, controlled by the medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second I wanted to return to the bed and just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head with the setting sun as its background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day, and sunlight poured on her smiling face. Felt like I was holding a light. I felt like I was holding a light-woven child. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, it's just... Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked, "You stole something and hid it there. Are you a thief?" What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from the tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind black trees. Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted to. Then show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone, then I'll show you. Olya wore a plotting smile. I swear on Mom's heart. An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we've watched. Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with a curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it, got lost himself. Now, you do understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? He must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to the houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. They've already scouted the forest. Yeah, right, flashed my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny, where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later, just for me? I changed the topic. As if trying to get Olya as far away as possible from the forest. We may get a reward if I go and find this boy myself. A lot of stuff, like the Wheel of Fortune. Sounds pretty cool, right? Olya wasn't even listening. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense. An owl won't be able to lift up a human. But you know what? I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... how should I put it? It's cursed or something. Just like in a fairy tale? No, more like in that spooky tape our parents hide from us. Olya shivered and stole a glance from the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you. No, it's just... I was hurrying back home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind, and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in the tower. I can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to catch each other soon. You know what I would wish for my next birthday? I would wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children so we can go and play together like we used to. Yeah, and if you'd make them like... yeah, and if you'd make them as small as bugs, we could place them into our little toy box. Olya giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tosha, let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue won over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. I'm too tired. I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone, and Mom is always busy. We can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? And so much happens after that. Let's go. Let's go. Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know. Let's play hide and seek. No, Oya. Then draw me a dino. Oya, please. Draw it. Draw it. Leave me alone already. I blurted it out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken back. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that before. Oya stared back at me in shock. Her lips started to tremble, a precursor to tears. My chest seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Oya from crying. Alright, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. I came up to her. I put my hand on her soft head. Come on, let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Boo, you'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. And I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! Triceratops. Close enough. Oya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you can rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just how you like it. Alright, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Want to bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere on the nightstand. Go look for it. Oya disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. A piggy bank. Oya is saving money for a real puppy because Dad said that taking care of him will take a lot of money. Oya's countless toys. An old teddy bear is the main attraction here. Oya doesn't sleep without it, and she digs her nose into its fur when she sleeps. The scary window where Oya sees that cursed owl every night, lurking in the dark. Oya keeps the curtains open during the day, but as soon as the twilight comes, she shuts them tight, so she won't have to see the pair of hungry eyes outside. The old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed up, and familiar white noise started dancing around the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did I catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and that was pretty rare. And only just recently I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna. What if I catch the signal again? On the other hand, Oya had asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her, but in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. Yeah, we're gonna search. Oya's such a sweetheart. I just want to make her happy. I sifted through the shelves full of dolls and blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. The tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. The rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images whirled in my head. Me and Oya flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister's laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed the clouds underneath us part, bearing the prickly pine tops. Swampy darkness lurked among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us and Oya. You haven't started without me, have you? My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. No, come sit. Mom and Dad are arguing again. They're going through rough times. Rough times are lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser. Oya was entertained by the cartoonish dog, Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too. Yeah, right. I'll have my own dog in the Neverland, and a cat, and a parrot. Oya smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Oya smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Have you lost all of your baby teeth? Obviously. Oya frowned, deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go to his island with adult teeth? We'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. And why would Dad forge documents? Oya took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. Hey, whoa! I heard Mom say that he did before. You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Oya got worried and touched her ear. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured her bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook. As if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagined myself there, in a land where one never ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens and fights to the sound of broken plates at night. It felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality. Tosha! Shut the curtains, fast! Why? No one's watching you. It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared. I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. I did my best not to look outside, toward the treetops, toward the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from shadows of branches scraping on the snow. Tosha, Mom thinks I made the owl up. And Dad too. He thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But I know the owl exists. Honestly it does. You do believe me, right? That it comes every night and... I swiftly grabbed Olya's hand and looked her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Yeah, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with so much. They'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens, okay? And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed. Like it's made up. Just like Mom and Dad said. It'll get tired of waiting and fly away. Ah, Olya. Poor sweet child. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap children, or as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olya's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Olya's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field, when my mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day of school tomorrow. Go to bed. You should sleep properly. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is just so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming. To something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear this mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just a part of growing up and I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier. That was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that had entered my head before coming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. It's come after all. The day I feared most, the first day of a new school term. Episode 2, Time to Play With You. I think that's gonna do it here for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really hope you guys are enjoying this series, and I'm hoping that by the time I record the next couple episodes here, you know, this will all be cleared up, and I'll be in a much better health overall. But it does mean a lot to me that you guys are enjoying this. So please, you know, take a moment, like, subscribe, especially if you want to see more of this content. Let me know in the comments how I'm doing. And again, thank you guys so much for coming out, and I can't wait to dive back into this one. So I'll see you guys once again out in the spooky forest.